what we're looking at now is a Russian BMD that was destroyed. RPGs, machine guns used on it to stop it. This is one paratrooper armored vehicle. You can see the gloves. You can see a gas mask as well that one of the soldiers used. So this particular armored vehicle of the commander was telling us they've used RPGs, they've used machine guns to bring it down. What you see behind me is Russian vehicle. You can see the Mark V on it. This particular armored vehicle completely destroyed. And you can see one of the soldiers probably has left behind handheld launcher as well. All around you can see armored vehicles of the Russian forces, some of them of course Ukrainian as well, across this stretch of the road. And the main street in itself has debris of just artillery and armory spread across this stretch. We're now going to walk you through the shelter of horror inside this school in Yagit. Each of these rooms, this was marked by the Russian soldiers' account of how many people there were inside. Now this is another horrifying room. You can see these are the names of the people who were killed by the Russian soldiers, and these are the people who lost their lives while being here, not able to get enough food, not able to get enough medication. In such a small area, hundreds of people being forced to live here as there was consistent firing that was taking place outside, the fear for their lives, the fear for their loved one.
When they come in here, our troops start shooting him, and he tries to make very fast forward. But I think for damage, like have this car, they trap to the anti-tank mine. You will see.
When the Russians landed at the Antonov airport on the 24th of February, you know what they really wanted was complete control over this airport. You can see artillery and armory of the Russians spread out all over. What you see behind me is the mighty Antonov 225, the crown jewel of Ukraine, and once the pride of the Soviet aviation, now completely destroyed. While the Ukrainian forces have been telling us that they have gotten complete control over the Gostomel airport and the areas around, we are standing on the stretch that leads to it, and I can hear firing that's going on at a short distance. You can see here as we speak now, tanks being taken in the trains that is just passing by. And as we made our way into Bucha town, we saw streets turning into battlegrounds. Hundreds of vehicles completely burnt, armored arsenal completely charred, and homes destroyed. But what I'm going to show you now is probably the darkest and the grimmest side of war. Civilians killed. You can see here dozens of bodies dumped in a mass grave that we have spotted right next to a church. Bridge, of course, was blown up by the Ukrainian military to ensure that the troops don't get any more ahead than this particular point. Part of the bridge that was blown up by the Ukrainian army, you can see so many vehicles all around here completely burned. Now these were some of the residents who were trying to flee when the Russian forces gained access into their town. The Irpin town where the gun battle has been raging on for several days. Now I have the commander of the military police here with me. If you could explain to us what we are looking at right here.
Hello, today we in Irpin. It's now fully controlled by Ukrainian forces.
You can see holes right through the wall, and we're standing here in the border of Irpin town that has of course been a battlefield for weeks together now as we evacuate several residents who've been injured. They have been struggling because the Ukrainian army haven't been able to evacuate them because there has been consistent gunfire around the region.
I say that this is my country, this is my city, and I don't want to leave our country.
Swimming pool, I'm training here, not military object, I don't know what Russia do it. You can see yourself.
Residents of course had to flee because this is what some of their homes were reduced to. Absolute rubble. You can see pets in particular in most of these areas now don't know where their families have gone and just hoping that they return soon. But unfortunately for many of these pets, what they may not understand is there is no more home at all to go back to. At Warsaw here in Poland, the US President Joe Biden just a few minutes ago has just made his way inside where he'd of course have a bilateral meeting with the Polish President Andrzej Duda. As the Russian troops penetrate deeper into Ukraine and of course have already started shelling several parts of the capital in Kyiv, the people here along with the volunteers are trying to protect everything historical in the city, including several of their monuments, several of their statues. T-72 tank that has been completely destroyed. Now another BMP. Now this is an armored vehicle that comes in with soldiers giving support to its infantry teams. And right, Battle of tanks that has taken place between the Russian forces and the Ukrainian forces. And what you see around is scenes of devastation and a large array of tanks and armored vehicles that have been destroyed. Just in a radius of about 10 meters from where I am standing, there are at least 8 to 10 armored vehicles and tanks that have been destroyed. Heavy artillery of the Russians was set up here, and I can show you all around the place that I'm standing in. Spent casings of the shells spread out all over. Multiple such points where their artillery was set up and fired from here onto the cities that are nearby. And Russian bunker right in between the entire artillery setup that they had done. To Borodanka. Now this particular town, once again, a battlefield. And by the Russian soldiers while they were here showing their occupancy with the letter V. And they have this bunker, just enough space for about a couple of people to sleep. You can see even now a lot of packaged food which can of course last for maybe 10 to 15 or even 20 days, canned food all around. Soldiers who are here, they're also checking the entire place because like we've been mentioning, and there have been reports of civilian houses being booby-trapped. There of course have been areas that have been rigged with explosives and
we need to check what is this.
Okay.
The demanding group, the engineers should check what is this, and then to take it off.
How many people have really lost their lives in terms of damages to houses? Have you been able to assess from your visit here?
I am here because I want to see for my own eyes what happened and what the Ukrainian government, Ukrainian parliament, the president of Ukraine, the all Ukrainian power can do for everyone people which are here.
But unfortunately, for hundreds of civilians in Bucha, there is no dignity even in death. Decided that they'll arm it with massive explosives and then blow it up. Now once they did that, you can see the kind of impact it has had in the entire periphery. A radius of about 100 meters, everything around blown to bits. Wheelchair there of his uncle who was inside the house.
They killed him. They killed him. What can I say? It's Russian army. I don't understand. I don't understand. Russians, tell me, what do you want?